This is real wisdom from a couple who lives it out every day. Spend 3 minutes around the Rosbergs and you'll be thirsty for more in your marriage. You'll also be affirmed and encouraged.
For 40 plus years, Dr. Gary and Barbie Rosberg have been inspiring marriages throughout the world. These seasoned radio hosts are now hosting their popular podcast, Your Marriage Coaches. Coupled with their many popular and best-selling books and their marriage coaching and training, Dr. Gary and Barbie Rosberg are equipping couples everywhere with tools and encouragement for a great marriage.
These two have been an asset to my marriage with their biblical marriage applications, advice, and guidance. Let Dr. Gary and Barbie help you get the more out of your marriage.
Won't you partner with the Rosbergs today? Your generous donation will support their mission of championing marriages for the cause of Christ by coaching husbands and wives to experience a great marriage for a lifetime and for the sake of the next generation. We appreciate your prayers and support for this ministry. Find out how you can come alongside the Rosbergs when you go to americasfamilycoaches.com. Just search the top of the index for the Donate tab.
Thank you, Dr. Gary and Barbie, for sharing your wisdom, your advice, your help, and your love and laughter with the world. You are tenderly caring for hearts, resulting in happy, healthy homes. So grateful for you.
We appreciate your prayers and support for this ministry. Go to americasfamilycoaches.com today to find out how you can support this life-giving ministry.
Welcome to the Rosbergs, your marriage coaches. Join Dr. Gary and Barbie Rosberg, America's family coaches, who bring 4 decades of empowering marriages across the U.S. and internationally for this podcast to equip you and your partner with encouragement and tools for a great marriage. Here now are your hosts, Dr. Gary and Barbie Rosberg.
We're Dr. Gary and Barb Rosberg, America's Family Coaches, and we are your marriage coaches.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about today.
I know, you just jumped right in there.
I am. And Gary, let's talk about it.
Well, we're going to be talking about looking for intimacy in all the right places.
The right places.
Wasn't that a
the
song?
Wrong places. You know what? If it's not a song and you're a writer, get after it, because that would be a great title. And may you have a vision following this program.
Well, I
because
think there was a
today-
song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places.
But you're going to find intimacy in all the right
So we're
places.
going to look for intimacy in all the right places.
In marriage, because that, Gary, it fuels us both as women and men.
Yeah.
It fuels our emotional safety and attachment. And by golly, it creates a bond that will last a lifetime. So let's get started.
Well, you know, Barbie, when we say the word intimacy, you know, most couples, you know, will have kind of a variation of responses. You know, sometimes the guy goes, well, you're talking about sex. And we are talking about sex. But that's not all we're talking about. We're talking about what happens when there's heart-to-heart intimacy, emotional intimacy. What happens when there is spirit-to-spirit intimacy, spiritual intimacy. And then the physical intimacy is kind of an outgrowth or an outcome of really healthy hearts and really healthy unity in our relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm. You know, we were visiting with a couple. We were doing some one-on-one coaching, and we learned that life had just the busyness of life and parenting and work and schedules and everything that young couples are going through had crowded out their sense of intimacy in marriage.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting with them for quite a while, and we learned that even this great celebration of sex that we are gifted with in marriage, they were missing out on that. And so we talked about even the idea of, as we are intentional with our praying together in marriage, spiritually connecting in marriage, maybe going to church together, listening to podcasts that are faith-based in marriage, or the emotional connection that we are intentional about. We'll talk about that today. But for this couple, we talked about the power of calendaring that time of sexual intimacy.
Yeah, being intentional.
Yeah, so that one of the people in the marriage that advocates for it can be looking forward to it.
It's not about doing more of all these things. And we're going to be giving you some coaching today on how do you find intimacy in the right places. And for some of you, you'll take, number 3, number 6, number 5, number 7 and go, I'm working on those. You may look at your experience as a couple and go, well, we're doing pretty well on some of them. So it's not so much doing more of, but it's being intentional. And Barbie, this couple became intentional. And then they came back and reported.
They tore up the calendar because they didn't need the calendar anymore.
No, because the spark had been renewed.
Yes.
And that is such an awesome experience. And there's research on this. So researchers from Harvard, University of Virginia, and Dr. John and Julie Gottman point to one common truth. Couples who stay emotionally close over the years don't leave it to chance. They schedule rituals that matter. Now, those rituals may include a walk. It may be a coffee. It may be a date night.
Going out to eat.
Doing a Bible study. It doesn't always matter what it is, but it's that is intentional.
And it's got to be a value for the couple.
Value for the couple.
So what we're talking about, that may not be a value to you, but some of those things we've listed might be maybe yes, maybe no, but they're a value to us. So that's why we're sharing them with you.
So these studies show that rituals strengthen emotional security. It builds resiliency during stress, and it increases satisfaction. So whether it's emotional, spiritual, or sexual, it's not about doing it more, but it's about reclaiming what is meaningful to you. So Barbie and I are going to perhaps even unpack upwards of 10 of these. And if you're taking notes or you want to record this and take the recording and play it on a date night with your spouse or put it in his or her podcast list, this would be a great way to just strengthen this area of your marriage, because we think that these things work. Whether you've been married a short time, whether you're planning to get married, whether you're in a good marriage and a hurting marriage, whether you're in the doldrums or whether you're at the top of the mountain, we think that these 10 takeaways, looking for intimacy in all the right places, is your song.
So, often, Gary, I think about what would I tell myself when I was an early married or in the first...
That was yesterday, Barb.
I know. First 10 years of marriage. But from every trial, virtually all the battles, all the things that we've gone through and learned from, what would I tell my younger self? And one of the things I would tell us as a young couple, if we were sitting down and putting ourselves on a sofa that was your grandpa's, that we got early in marriage. I'm so blessed and so thankful. But I would say date night. Make time for date night. Early years, first year of marriage, you went back to school for your master's degree and worked, which was great. Gary is achievement based. I know you. I love you. I'm proud of you.
I achieved you, baby.
And that's right. And I am your best cheerleader, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think I would have. And we were involved as far as being sponsors in youth group.
Right.
And we innately wanted to serve others and help others and love people, love God and love people. But one thing I think we needed marriage coaches. And so what I'd say to myself then, or now, I'd say, you need a date night. And that means this. Mm-hmm. Save your money. Save the pop cans and trade them in, because back in the day, that's what we did.
Yeah, we did.
And find yourself, go out for some dessert. Find something meaningful. Today, what Gary and I do, we go to concerts. We go to the free concerts. We go to the pay a little bit for the concerts. And sometimes we go to the pay for the lot concerts. But that is meaningful to us. Question for you. What is meaningful for you in your marriage? Tonight or tomorrow, sit in a chair with your spouse and say, what's meaningful? What's a value? What would make you kick your head back and laugh hard? And what could we do together, shoulder to shoulder, and have fun? Date nights.
And more than shoulder to shoulder, by the way. But it
leads to more.
We know that
I thought I was speaking the male language, shoulder to shoulder.
We know that consistency matters, though.
Yeah.
And it keeps the spark alive. So date nights, weekly date nights. So honest truth, whether you've been married 50 years or 5 years or 5 minutes, work on weekly date nights. Barbie, what's number 2?
Well, a lot of people ask me, why do I have so much joy? Well, it really has to do with this feeling, this ritual of appreciation and gratitude. And I was in the doctor's office this morning just for something real light. And the doctor had a nurse that had only been married less than a year. And he looked at her and he goes, "Tell her how long you've been married." And I was so proud of myself. I said, 50 years. And he looked so lovingly, I mean, compassionately at his nurse and said, "She has been married about a year." And he then said to her, "Look at her." And I know he was talking about the joy. Now, my joy doesn't come from external, but it's from appreciation and gratitude. And we know that from neuroscience, you can literally change brain pathway in your brain. You don't always have to go to EMDR. What you need to do is just experience gratefulness. From the time I wake up in the morning, I literally start counting my blessings. And then we do it together. I'll say, "Gary, we're going to talk to the Lord. We're going to talk out loud. We're going to pray. What are you grateful for?"
I go, yeah.
So we were sitting in a restaurant following the appointment, and I said, "Let's focus on what is true, what is right, what is noble."
Yeah.
And in Philippians chapter 4, it talks about pray about everything, giving thanks in everything, and focus on what is true. So if one of you in your marriage is discouraged or downhearted or defeated, or they got a hard phone call, or there's chronic illness in your family, well, there could be any number of those things going on. But what we do is we thank God for the wins. Look backwards and measure the wins that you have had over your lifetime, because that lends itself to having more faith and hope beyond ourselves, and not in our marriage, but in God, who needs to cover us.
So it's rituals of appreciation is what number 2 is. It's a note. It's a post-it on the mirror in your spouse's, where they brush their teeth. It's a kind word. It's a note on the refrigerator. You stick it in their car. You stick it in their lunchbox. You stick it, on their iPhone, wherever, because those tiny rituals foster trust and they foster warmth.
Over time it does. But I'm going to say this. It has to begin in your heart.
Yeah.
And you need to choose to align with God and say, "Show me where I should be grateful in our marriage, where I'm blind, where I've taken my spouse for granted, where I don't even imagine all the ways in which my spouse is serving our entire family." So it begins with you, and then write those notes, Post-it notes, sticky notes.
Yeah. You buy them by the case.
I add the color to our marriage.
Yeah, you are the color to our marriage. Number 3 is daily emotional check-ins. The predictability and the anticipation and the intentionality around daily emotional check-ins is money. When your spouse knows that you're going to fight for that 10 or 20 minutes, again, if you want a good marriage, 10 minutes, you want a great marriage, work on 20 minutes. And all the research is that 10 or 20 minutes does remarkable things physiologically in your brain chemistry. It releases endorphins. It increases warmth and connection. And when you sit, what we usually say is in 2 chairs, or you go out on a park bench or on the porch swing or in the front seat of the truck, it doesn't really matter where it is. What matters is that your spouse knows it's predictable, it's intentional, and that they can anticipate it. And when they anticipate it, Barb, we anticipate it, not they. You know what it does is it stirs that encouragement. In 1 Thessalonians 5:11, I mean, Barbie, this is your life verse, to encourage one another, just as in fact you were doing.
It's too fun not to. Once you just see how wonderful people are in your life and you tell them, you get a rush of God going through you, because he's only using you, but the other person's the one that gets blessed. But the scripture I think too, Gary, is you are refreshed as you refresh others.
Yeah.
So there's a real blessing to refreshing others.
There is.
I won't interrupt you.
No, you're doing
I'm
good.
trying not to.
No, you're doing great. Number 4 is going to bed at the same time.
Can I talk about that?
I think you should.
I really should, because Gary's always gone to bed at an earlier time of on the clock. And I've always been a night person. And you wake
I
up.
say go to bed early and go to bed often. It is kind of it's kind of like boating in Cook County in Illinois. Go ahead.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
during
pretty
Richard Daly
spontaneous.
days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Go
am
to bed
thinking
at the
about
same
go to
time.
bed at the same time. So there was a time I had an art room above our garage.
Yeah.
And I would go up those 10 or 12 stairs by myself every night. Right as soon as Gary got in bed, I was so happy. I could make my lists out for the whole day, for the next week, for the next year. I could do planning. I could draw. I could write. I could read. And it was me time. And I loved it. And, I probably needed more me time than when I was a younger mother, because otherwise we're pouring out. You got to have me time. So, listen to that. But there was a time in our lives where I realized I'm lonely for Gary, and I think he's lonely for me. And quietly and gently, the Holy Spirit said, you need to go to bed with Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And that means the same time. And so even though my time clock was probably like 2 hours later than yours, like if you went to bed 9:30, I was thinking 11:30 was great. But I started winding it down.
Yeah.
And the more I self-regulated and I started doing my fun self-care during the day, calendaring and all those other things, then I could wind down. Now, the first couple of nights I laid there wide-eyed thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to think about?
Yeah,
But
there weren't cell phones.
no, but the beauty is that this happened.
Well,
The bond, the
Yeah.
emotional connecting. They even say in neurological studies that when a husband and wife go to bed at the same time, that there is a bond even in breathing and in resting and in your spirit. And so I can tell you this, that it's true, because we go to bed at the same time, we get up at the same time, and we're happy.
Well, and it's not just about sleep; it's about presence. And I don't mean presence with a bow on
darn,
it.
darn.
But when you're present together, there's that connection, and it allows you to sync. It's kind of like a reset at the end of the day, and it's a great time to pray together. It's a great time to exercise gratitude together. It's a great time to
I got a scripture too.
kind of review the day. Barb and I, it's a great time to watch Everybody Loves Raymond. And for our older podcast, people, you'll know what that is. We said that to our granddaughter the other day, and she looked at us like, well,
What?
yeah, what's Everybody Loves Raymond? We were in a restaurant where two of our daughters, one is a server and one's a hostess. And Phil Rosenthal, who is the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond, was at a table a couple away from us. And
actually, this is what I think happened. I think they put blinders between us and him and got him out of there before they seated us, because our two granddaughters know that we would have gone up and said, we love Everybody.
yeah, we
Loves
crack
Raymond.
up around that show.
Yeah.
He also did The Simpsons and Feeding Phil or something. It's a new show, but he was in town doing a deal, and he was right in there.
Yeah,
But
we would have encouraged him and said, wow, this
But
is so
sometimes
great.
what we do is we watch,
Oh, we love those.
kind of fun old serials like Cheers or Frasier or Everybody Loves Raymond, just stuff that's lighthearted at the end of the day. We
And
pray together.
predictable. Yeah.
It's a time of connection. Sure, it's a time of sexual intimacy at sometimes, but it's also just a time to kind of wrap a day together so that when you wake up the next day, you're more in sync and you're more in the same rhythm.
So there are really studies, Gary, that say that if you watch short sitcoms on a regular basis before you go to bed, that neurologically your brain knows to anticipate to wind down and you will sleep better. I read that in the last couple of weeks, and I'm thinking, wow, we are doing it right. So we have a scripture that I got excited about.
Yeah.
I wanted to read about going to bed at the same time. It says in Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 through 10, 2 are better than one. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. And life is short and time is precious.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed at the same time and connect and bond. We aren't guaranteed tomorrow. We aren't guaranteed today.
No, we're not.
But reality is celebrate it. Go to bed at the same time. Wake up happy and healthy, we pray, and enjoy the day.
Here's number 5 is revisiting shared dreams. revisiting shared dreams. Talk about your future, revisit your plans. Couples who co-dream grow stronger, not just in purpose, but in intimacy. And future talk is connection fuel. You know, Barbie, after you had the doctor deal today, we went out to breakfast. And over that, you know, great, you had avocado toast, you know, I had a pancake with syrup. I loved it.
And you had more than that.
I had more than that.
You're just not counting all the things you ate, but go ahead.
Well, you had eggs and fruit.
And you.
And I had eggs and sausage. It was awesome. But we were reviewing some of the opportunities that we've had in ministry and this podcasting and worldwide
so blessed
opportunities and talking about the future and just enjoying that and connecting. And we paid our bill. We stayed for we probably should have added a second
2 hours. Yeah.
Because we really took up that gal. Mary was a server.
She was darling.
In fact, you had a connection with Mary.
Yeah, I did.
I'm holding the door trying to get out of there. And I hear this yeehaw inside.
Laughing. Yeah. Well, the Lord, you know what? I love when 10 times I was listening to you with one ear and I was listening to the Spirit of God, I think, from my other ear. And 10 times he said, go and tell your waitress how amazing she is. And so 10 times I listened. Finally, we got up and I went over to her. I said, you used to be a cheerleader when you were in high school. And she said, yes. And she just laughed. And so much joy came from
I heard it outside.
And the cutest thing is I saw that in her, and she was just darling. And so it's always a joy to have your trigger of, if the Lord tells you to do something, have that trigger on. Just say yes and go do it.
So Mary, way to go.
Go and encourage and build up one another.
So Barbie, how did you sense that you'd been a cheerleader?
It's just sometimes in discernment in just, we outside of our podcast, we do coaching with couples. We do mentoring with couples. We grandparent, I think, exceptionally well. We adore our daughters and family, but we are with each other a lot. And we have these quiet places where we press in. Yeah. And we don't need to overcrowd our schedules. But what we do is we're continually listening and pressing into the Spirit and asking God, what room have you put me in today where I can use my gift set? And I'm asking you, your gift set might be far more intelligent than mine, but use your gift set. What room does he have you in today where you can use your gift set and feel the win that you're living for God? So
looking for intimacy in all the right places.
All the right places.
Okay, Barbie, we're halfway done.
We are.
We've only got a handful of minutes.
Oh, I think you wrote this, Rituals of Touch.
That's number 6, Rituals of Touch.
Yeah, touch is very healing.
And affection isn't optional. It's emotional regulation. It's a daily hug. It's holding hands. It's sitting close. It lowers stress. It kind of releases hormones, and it signals safety in a relationship.
Yeah.
And, Barbie, over the years, because I've spoken to a lot of guys, I'll have guys sometimes come up and say, well, Rosberg, I'm just not much into public displays of affection. And I'll go, well, let's work on that one, because you're married to this incredible woman and she loves it, most likely. And, when you reach out and take her hand, or you put your arm around her, or stroke her hair, or whatever, it sends a message, but it also connects us, and it's looking for love in all the right places. It builds intimacy. It's the ritual of touch. And we're talking non-sexual touch here. Now that may, stir some imagination about sexual touch, and that's great too. But the ritual of touch, of affection, gosh, Barbie, we've been reading a lot of stuff about what makes great marriages recently. And I tell you, admiration and affection, and it's one of the 5 love needs that we discerned in our research in our book, is a big one. And so when you are admiring and expressing affection, and you're leading with that with your spouse, you break the bonds of what the enemy is trying to do to discourage you, or to suck you into the lies that you're isolated, that there's no hope to rekindle and to connect. So lead with affection. That will build the intimacy in the relationship.
So we were driving over from Chicago, and you were telling me about an article that you read. And now I'm touching your hair intentionally because I'm touching you right now. Do you remember you talking to me about the power of touch? And I think you'd even read an article about stroking somebody's hair.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing it right now because he was mindful to tell me of the
I feel like
research.
this feels like a scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when
Yeah, but-
the kid is drooling in class. So I got to be careful to make sure I don't start drooling.
Sorry, but it's very powerful.
Ferris?
And
Ferris?
And at every
Ferris
age.
Bueller?
Okay, so at every age, oh, by the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I like this public display of affection.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
No,
watch
I
my
really
hands.
do. No.
Yeah. You never know where those hands are going, Barbie. So
Okay. So no, really, it is touch, and by the way, it goes both ways. And
does.
so we better get back into
Here's
our
number
notes.
7.
Yeah.
Is celebrate each other's wins. Barbie just talked about talking to Mary at the restaurant, being a cheerleader. We want to cheer other people on, but you know what? In our marriage, we want to celebrate our spouse's wins. When one wins, both of you should feel it. And couples who cheer each other on, whether it's big or small, build a joy that lasts through the harder seasons. What we're saying is be your spouse's biggest fan and let them know. Let them know, let your kids know, let your parents know, let your friends know, let your pastor know, let your therapist know. I mean, affirm your spouse, cheer them on, and also do it not disingenuously, but do it in front of other people too. So people catch you cheering on your spouse.
Yeah.
You like that one?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. I'm really liking them.
You're liking this one.
So how about the next one?
All right, there's 3 more.
Yeah, no, but
Number 8, Barbie.
Morning and evening times together.
Yeah.
And, we were breaking this down and thinking about it. We get up the same time together and we giggle and we laugh about, hey, did you sleep good? I did too. We slept through the night. We didn't get up.
And then you say, where's my coffee?
Where's the coffee? Okay, so maybe I'm a little happier than you are.
Yeah.
But
because I go make the coffee and serve her.
every day.
That's just the deal.
And I'm telling you something. It may not work in your marriage, and I don't care, but it does work in mine.
Because it works in
I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless you. I hope you serve tea. Or it's between you. If you really want a great marriage, you're going to be taking notes.
Yeah.
If you don't want a great marriage, then you're not going to do this. But I will tell you this. It's very meaningful to me. And my husband knows how to bring me a cup of coffee every morning. And I thank you. So then at some point we get up and we brush our teeth together. And we are connecting when we brush teeth. We are connecting throughout the little times during the day. You guys, it's not big. It's the little times.
I think that's the whole
It's the little
takeaway.
thing in the kitchen. Like one of us might be emptying the dishwasher, and especially if you get up earlier, I might hear those. But, thank God we have a dishwasher. Truthfully, it's all about the little things. It's one of you picking up the clutter. It might be one of you putting away dishes. It's keeping the bond of connection and tone of voice. I'm going to add tone of voice because often as women, and I have agreed and validated this with many, many, many of our female clients throughout the years, and that is this. It's the tone of voice. So you guys are fully male. You got lots of testosterone, but the reality is sometimes a little bit of your testosterone goes a long way as we are listening. And the softer you are with your wife, the more she'll want to listen. So that
honey,
was a freebie.
That was free. And I want to make sure we hit these next 2 because number 9 is screen-free meals. It's kind of hard to say those 3 words for some reason, but screen-free meals. What it means is you turn this off. And guys, I encourage you to take the leadership. So when you sit down, don't allow the screen, whether it was a TV screen, I think with our dads when we were younger.
Or newspapers
or something. But now it's our phones. It's our cell phones. And you're scrolling and the kids are scrolling and the grandkids are scrolling and the neighbors are scrolling. I remember we were in, I think it was Hong Kong. And we went to a meal. Somehow we heard about this incredible restaurant, and they were probably all incredible, but it wasn't expensive. But we went to this restaurant, and we were the only non-Hong Kong people, residents in there, I think. And there was a young couple, and I don't think we had seen this.
This was on the eve of it changing worldwide. But we were at like Jimmy Wong's.
Yeah, and it was a date for this couple. You could tell. I mean, they were really young, and they were both on their phones, and they were just scrolling through their phones. And I remember we looked at them, and it was like, what do you? I mean, we had phones, but that habit hadn't taken over yet, but it had for them. And we thought about all that they were missing.
They were missing eye contact. They were missing the small tells of body movement.
All the nuances.
All the nuances. It was a matter of watching, are they thinking in the past or are they thinking about the future? It was a matter of, were they leaning in?
Yep.
Were they leaning back? There was none of that going on. Why? Because they weren't connecting. And if you're really going to emotionally and spiritually attach to one another and build the bond, you got to put those phones down. And I would recommend it for every meal. Now, if your family's different, then it's all about you. But it's like, to the degree that you're willing to do this is the degree of incredible fruit of outcome of bonds of connection and emotional attachment and building security and safety in this. Your children, your spouse will say, they're asking themselves this question, several questions all the time. Am I known? Am I being listened to? Do you understand what I'm talking about? There is something so important I really want to talk to you about. It might be, and I don't have my confidence up because it feels too vulnerable.
Yeah.
But is this safe?
Yeah.
So I can give you my heart.
Yeah.
And then know that you will be gentle and caring with whatever I need to share. You can't beat emotional connection. So I think one main thing you can do, it's super simple. It won't cost you a thing except putting your phone down and agree, say, we're going to take a 30-minute break from our phones. We're going to take an hour-long break. Why? And boy, if you say this to your spouse, because you are more important to me.
And it builds attention.
I want to listen to you, or I want to see you. I want you to share things about yourself that I don't know. Okay, your turn.
And this is a great verse. In Acts 2:46, here's what we read. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. I love that verse. So they broke bread and ate together, and they were glad, and they had sincere hearts, genuine hearts. You know, Barb, it's all about connection. And when you're breaking bread, don't miss the nuances. You know, we've shared on other programs. John Gottman says at a typical family meal, there's in excess of 100 bids where you got kids bidding for attention, you got spouses, you know, and we miss them. And they've done all this research that men, you know, like 80% of men that divorce miss bids. And less than that, 70% or something of women miss the bids.
And I want to give credit to Julie Gottman, too, because John Gottman's wife, they are an incredible couple they are marriage researchers who have changed the world's understanding of truly how to have a winsome marriage.
And then, honey, number 10 is weekly State of the Union talks. One conversation per week. So, you know, we usually say, what can you do daily? What can you do weekly? What can you do monthly? What can you do quarterly? You know, what can you do annually? Maybe it's another one. But weekly State of the Union talks, one conversation per week to check in what worked, what didn't work, what do we need to spruce up or repair? Because what it does is it halts the compounding of the issues.
That's really good.
Because when you miss a week and then miss another week and another week, somehow those get lodged back here. You know, we were coaching somebody recently, and we said,
I know just where you're going.
Well, there was that earlier in our coaching with them, there was bitterness and resentment. It backed up, and this is in our book, Healing the Hurt in Your Marriage, where we talk about closing the loop. It backed up to anger, then backed up to hurt and disappointment and fear. But the more we were backing up into those primary emotions, the resentment and bitterness were gone.
It dissipated.
Yeah, the anger was gone.
You could release it.
And the fear, some disappointment, sure, there's still some of that. There's a little bit of hurt, but it was the intensity, the frequency, the presence of it was so far less. And it was interesting. We were coaching them. And I don't know if you recall, but we left the place that we were coaching them, and they had left just a few minutes before us. And we saw them on the other side of the street, walking on the street, holding hands. And it was a great reflection that intentionality of their marriage coaching and being in the presence of a couple, us that care about them and love them, and we're putting them on our shoulders. It builds the consistency and the relationship. In Ephesians 4:15, instead, speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become, in every respect, the mature body of Him. Let us become more Christ-like. So if you want to build intimacy in your marriage, be intentional. If you want to look for intimacy in all the right places, we know looking for love in all the wrong places, that's a loser song. But let's look for intimacy in all the right places. And we believe that will help strengthen your marriage. We're so grateful that you join us. You can go to americasfamilycoaches.com, learn more. We appreciate that some of you are considering partnering financially with us, partnering with us in prayer. Partner with us by sharing this with your spouse and with other people that you care about so that they can experience a great marriage as well. We're the Rosbergs, your marriage coaches. We'll see you next time.
Hey listeners, make sure to stay up to date with the Rosbergs by subscribing to their show, Your Marriage Coaches, on any major podcast platform such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will get an alert each time a new episode is released. Whatever platform you're listening on, please rate the podcast and leave us a review.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Rosbergs, Your Marriage Coaches, with Dr. Gary and Barbie Rosberg. To find out more, go to americasfamilycoaches.com. Once you're there, you can check out the many resources that they have available. From their many books to their informative video series, 6 Secrets to a Lasting Love, they've got all the tools you need to help you grow deeper in your relationship with your spouse and with God. Go to americasfamilycoaches.com and click on the Resources tab. Also, if you have a marriage question, you can call 855-ROSBERG and leave a message with your question. We may use your question on a future episode. We appreciate your prayers and support for this ministry. Find out how you can come alongside us when you go to americasfamilycoaches.com. Just search the top of the index for the Donate tab. Thank you for listening in today. Be sure to join us next time for another episode of The Rosbergs, Your Marriage Coaches, with Gary and Barbie Rosberg.